everyone, Maxim here, and I'm here today with a bit of a unique video. So in today's video, as you can see right now on the GMR YouTube channel, I'm going to be going ahead and continuing episode 2 for our channel's Little WICSO series. Now, why am I here on this random channel? Well, GMR is basically a random channel, is basically a collab channel between me, Gold Team Ukraine on top, and his friends. And basically what we're going to be doing on this channel is that apart from our own little WICSO series, which we are doing right now, we're going to be going ahead and making some gaming videos and stuff like that. So our channel isn't necessarily just a mapping channel. It will be a channel with multiple types of videos. But if you guys go ahead and enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe and go ahead and check me, Gold Team Ukraine on top, and the two other guys' channels, including my own friend actually, including my own friend named Freedom Comrade. She's actually on this channel, funnily enough. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started with this video. So the first thing that's going to be happening in this video is that the Sicilians will go ahead and continue exploring the world. They will eventually start exploring the Tyrrhenian Sea, as they will eventually go ahead and spot the southern coast of Corsica. However, though, they will not be bothered to conquer it, because the mountains of Corsica will make the island look small. But elsewhere, we will go ahead and see the Sicilians going ahead and completely conquering the entire island. From there, the Sicilians will go ahead. And continue exploring elsewhere. Now moving ahead. Elsewhere. Now going ahead and beginning to explore the rest of Spain. I will go ahead and fix this later, by the way. So as we are seeing, so the Sicilians will go ahead and continue moving into Spanish territory, basically intending to never let something like Italy happen again. Because if you aren't aware, in the last video, Italy was first or actually Naples, was originally a part of Sicily. However, though, it broke off after the Sicilians overextended themselves. Whew, that was rough. Sorry for the inconveniences, guys. I still don't really know how to do layers and stuff like that. But as I was saying, we will see the Sicilians going ahead and continuing the exploration of Spain in order to prevent something like Italy ever happening again. It is here that the Sicilians will go ahead and continue expanding will go ahead and expand their colony further into Spain. However, though, they will go ahead and stop to the territories they have already conquered, because the Sicilians this time, they don't want to go ahead and overextend themselves too much, because they fear that if they do it again, once again, a new Italy-like nation, one that will break off from Italy and forever become an eternal enemy of the Sicilians, will be born. Speaking of Italy, we will go ahead and see Italy going on their own adventures, as the Italians, with their experience from trampling all over the peninsula, will go ahead and conquer Latium, which is basically the area where modern Rome is. And it is here that they will also go ahead and jump across the ocean, going ahead and conquering this little island, which I believe is the island of Elba, if I'm correct. But yeah, as I was saying, the Italians will go ahead and conquer more of Italy, eventually nearing Corsica, although they won't see it yet. It is here that we will go ahead and see the Italians send more expeditionary groups to the north, as we will go ahead and see the Italians marching further and further up north into northern Italy. They won't overextend, however, because slowly but surely Italy itself will go ahead and march into this territory. However, though, they will go ahead and call some of their explorers back, seeing as they don't want to become like a nation that's too big and will overexpand. So for now, they will go ahead and stop and give this northern area autonomy. Elsewhere, we will go ahead and see the Italians of all people going ahead and seeing the island of Corsica. Now, I'm not sure if they had a navy, but it is here that we will go ahead and see Italy begin making attempts to colonize Corsica. They send one boat, and that falls. They send another, and that falls too. Eventually, they amass a fleet, and after another failed attempt, they will finally make a landing on the north of the island, and it is here that they will go ahead and conquer the rest of Corsica, giving giving the Na- giving the Na- giving Naples its first province outside of the Italian peninsula. So, speaking of the Italian peninsula, going back down to Sicily, we will go ahead and see Sicily continue to expand and explore more of the world. Not to that extent, but they will go ahead and continue exploring more of the world as they will eventually begin digging further, slightly deeper into North Africa. However, though, they will not go ahead and expand too much, seeing as they are not really too, they don't really want to burn themselves in the desert, and also, they will also begin going ahead and expanding into Libya, and basically the move to dig in further into Sicilian Carthage, or I guess the deserty areas of Sicilian Carthage, are halted for now. Are halted temporarily because the Sicilians don't want to waste money and resources conquering a mere desert when you can conquer more plants and, I guess, fertile farmland. Speaking of fertile farmland, they will go ahead. The Sicilians will go ahead and continue to expand their Carthaginian colony, and it is here that we see the Sicilian government begin making mo- begin making attempts to go ahead and centralize the country. They will begin going ahead and centralizing the Carthaginian colony, and it is here that we will see the idea of regionalism break out for the first time. Now, if you don't know what regionalism is basically a sort of it's basically a branch of nationalism, but where nationalism, and it's basically nationalism for a region within a country. Now, if you're a regional nationalist, you basically would now regional nationalists in real life celebrate their their land's heritage and culture. So for example, Corsica has a proud historically Italian culture although it has been influenced by France IRL, it's not actually really French, but more so of its own thing. And in Corsica, there are Corsican nationalists calling for an independent Corsica, but overall the idea is not really too popular. So we will go ahead and begin seeing those ideas getting pumped into Carthage as the Carthaginian colonists will begin having a taste of uniqueness to the Sicilian heritage. Now, officially, will still call themselves part of the Sicilian nation. However, though, Carthage will begin to have its own customs and culture, something that Sicily is keeping a very, 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 very close eye on because they don't want to see an Italy like situation happen once again. Moving elsewhere, where over here in the Balkan, whoops, excuse me, moving over here in the Balkans, we will go ahead and see the rest of the countries around this area, going ahead and exploring more and more of the Balkans. It's actually not that big, but as I was saying, they will go ahead and explore more and more of the Balkan area, as Greece will go ahead and begin discovering some of the nearby islands around it. So after going ahead and discovering these nearby islands, Greece will go ahead and begin expanding its navy as they will go ahead and conquer the islands around them. They will not discover Crete, however, though they are on the fringes of discovering some more major lands in the future. Elsewhere in the north, we will also go ahead and see the Greeks expand up to this area, as the Greeks will go ahead and annex this area, as well as taking over the island of Corfu. Elsewhere, we will go ahead and see the Albanians expand over here to the south, as the Macedonians will go ahead and expand here in the west. And it is here that where we basically see almost every single nation interconnected, with all the land filled in between them finally filled. Still, Constantinople will go ahead and do its own minor expansion, moving up into Bulgaria and agreeing on a peace treaty to divide the lands between them and the neighboring state of Macedonia, in which to me they are friendly. Now, again, I didn't really watch much of the last episode of WICSO, so I am probably going against a project of my own, a collaborative project of my own. However, though, I imagine that apart from Sicily and Italy, the rest of the world is still relatively peaceful for the most part. So, yeah. Yeah. Speaking of peaceful, the Macedonians will go ahead and conquer a little bit of the Anatolian Peninsula, which won't really bother the Constantinopolitans too much, as all they're really worried about is just expanding. And also making sure that they're just neutral. And speaking of neutral, we will go ahead and see the Constantinopolitans expand more and more into the Balkan area, now beginning to move in further into northwestern Anatolia, as the Macedons will go ahead and eventually conquer this island that I do not know the name of. Heading west, we will go ahead and see regionalism do something interesting, as the Carthaginian explorers in this who are who are much more interested and curious than the Sicilian government, will go ahead and begin having ideas of what if they just went ahead and expanded west, begun beginning new lives instead as beginning their new lives as nomads. So it is here that we will go ahead and see some Carthaginian see these Carthaginian soon to be exiles beginning to go ahead and request more of the Sicilian more poor Sicilians living along the innermost parts of the Spanish colony to move west with them to wherever this land will take them. It is here that we will eventually it is here that we will eventually see a few more citizens join this group, and this group will begin going ahead and expanding out west into the emptiness of the Spanish countryside. They will eventually go ahead and they will eventually go ahead and explore a little bit before eventually finding a mountain range. Now, in real life, Spain is actually a little bit mountainous, so I think it's like a little mountainous around the central area. It is here that we will go ahead and see the Spanish explorer. It is here that we will go ahead and see the Spanish Carthaginians form the new nation of Madrid. So let's go ahead and color that real quick. And now we will see the birth of the nation of Madrid. So Madrid, which is basically just a confederation of which is basically just a confederation formed by these by these nomadic wannabe explorers, will go ahead and birth itself in the center of Spain. It is here that they will go ahead and begin moving out west, as they will go ahead and begin exploring more and more of the Spanish countryside. Now, realistically, they wouldn't conquer this much land quickly, but we're just gonna go ahead and assume that time has just moved a little bit faster, and we will go ahead and see as we will go ahead and see the Spanish country beginning to expand into the innermost parts of Spain, basically reaching for the coast. Eventually, a few more years later, and they will go ahead and expand fully into the Lisbon area in IRL, Portugal. And it is here that the Spanish will get, for the first time in their life, a view of the unique colors of the Atlantic Ocean. Spain will go ahead and set up its capital right about Spain will go ahead and set up its capital right about here, uh, and it is there that Spain will go ahead and settle down for now, as Spain will turn itself into a pretty impressive starter up civilization. Over here in Libya, we will go ahead and see something else interesting happening too, as we will go ahead and see some Sicil- as we will go ahead and see Sicily expanding its voyages down to Libya. However, though, on this fateful day, a massive wipe off this fleet, as they will go ahead and be reunited, as they will go ahead and meet up with with the Sicilian explorers who have recently just moved into this area. The Sicilians haven't officially colonized it yet. They're just like, building temporary posts here and just moving, so they're not really a country. But but as these Sicilian explorers go ahead and meet up with these other ones here, they will go ahead and wait for the Sicilians to come for their aid. Eventually, the Sicilians will go ahead. However, and it is here that we will go ahead and see the Sicilians beginning to slowly meet up with the expeditionaries who moved into Libya. However, though, it is here that we actually see some of the Libyan expeditionaries moving out on their own, because if you didn't know, although Sicily is perhaps a perfect utopia, in reality, there's actually some people who just kind of want to, like, get it over with. Like, I mean, sure, the Sicilian life is nice, but with personal matters like like But with personal family matters like cheating wives, affairs, etc., some Sicilians will just go ahead and decide to gamble their life by going ahead and exploring newfound lands as Sicilian explorers. So these Sicilians wanting to basically start a new life, that's what I should have said, will go ahead and start colonizing the Libyan coast as they will move away from the old world and establish the nation of Libya right over here in the cute little measly desert of where Benghazi would be in real life. And with, and with that being said, the nation of Libya is born. Is born. And Libya will essentially become a nation founded by broken Sicilians. Basically, these are people who just want to start a new life and just want to get it over with all the politics of the world. So that's basically what they're doing. They're going to be retiring themselves to an isolated homeland over here in Libya. They will go ahead and explore out some more, but overall, they will go ahead and for now settle their capital right about here, establishing their home in their little meeting. Whoops. Establishing their home in their cute little meeting spot. And with all that being said, I think that's gonna do it for today's video because I don't really have any more ideas. But if you go ahead, but if you enjoyed this Wixo episode of GMR of the GMR Wixo series, again, make sure to leave us some suggestions down below in the comment section. Me and Gold Team Ukraine on top actually talked this all out on Discord. He told me to just record the episode 2 of Wixo, and considering that he didn't really give me like a plot or a script or anything, I just decided to add in whatever I want here. Because if you don't know, because if you remember correctly, this is a collab channel, meaning that we will go ahead and implement all of our ideas here. So again, if you have any ideas, make sure to suggest them down below in the comments, because we will definitely go ahead and look at them. With all that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Wixo, because I will see you guys in the next because I will go ahead and see you guys when the next episode comes. So that being said, goodbye.